Every good story has an underdog who has very little chance of winning against the big bad giant. In my story, the underdog is a subject called technology education, and it is fighting the traditional ways of the classroom. This fight began in the early 1960s, and it was 30 long years before it won its first major victory. In 1995, technology education was introduced as a mandatory subject in New Zealand schools. If this was a fictional story, this would have been a happily ever after. Unfortunately, in real life, this was very different. 20 years later today, we are still struggling with some aspects of teaching technology. In a technology classroom, students are solving problems for a specific group of people by designing and making products. By solving these problems, they are enhancing and practicing creativity, collaboration, innovation, critical thinking, all essential for their life in the 21st century. The characteristic feature of technology education is that every student is expected to come up with a unique solution to the given problem. So at the same time, different students could be working with different materials, could be learning different skills and abilities, and could be gaining different kinds of knowledge. So how is the teacher to know what each individual student is learning? The teacher's role, after all, is to scaffold the next learning step for the student. My research deals with this challenge. Generally, teachers ask questions to gauge what the student is learning. But research shows us that they ask factual recall questions that the students then answer in less than 4 words. This is not enough for a technology classroom. The questions need to encourage the students to critique, analyze, and organize their learning. In other words, demonstrate higher order thinking skills. In my qualitative research, I provide 2 primary teachers with a framework of higher order questions that can challenge and deepen student thinking. Questions like, if you were to make improvements to this design, what changes would you make? Why? Or question like, if this framework will provide a scaffold for the teacher, and I track how they use it in the classroom, how they learn from it, and how it affects the teacher-student dialogue in the classroom. I hope my research will provide a few answers on how we can support student learning in the classroom and thus bring us one step closer to providing a victory for the underdog. Thank you.